Tim, Lydia, good evening. This was a scenario where essentially Senate Republicans say they have had enough going back and forth over the last several weeks. It's time to get a deal done. They're leaving out of town. They have that 2-week break starting tonight, and they're taking it. They get a final deal, they'll come back. If not, they're staying on vacation.
I'm told that John Kasich will be here in about 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a lesson. If you want to take out a cell phone, take out a computer, or possibly pen and paper, and give you kind of a breakdown of the numbers of what we're seeing right now. Right now, latest Siena poll shows likely voters. This is not registered Republicans, but likely Republicans to vote. Support Donald Trump 50%, John Kasich 27%, and Ted Cruz 17%. Now, why does this really matter? We know that Donald Trump, it looks like, will walk away with the most votes, but really it's by how many, and here's why. We're going to go ahead and show you if Donald Trump walks away with 50% of the votes, okay, he will go ahead and walk away with 3 delegates in each of New York's 27 congressional districts. But if Donald Trump comes in with 49% of the votes, he'll only get 2 delegates. And those remaining delegates in each congressional district will go towards either John Kasich or Ted Cruz.
Our Nick Perreault has been on budget watch all week long. And Nick, what can you tell us about the deals that have been reached and what still needs to be ironed out at this point?
Well, Tricia, right now, let's just hit off the very key topics that they've already had an agreement to. Bringing ride sharing upstate, a tax on millionaires, that college affordability, free tuition for SUNY and CUNY students. That has all been agreed to, as well as the $2.5 billion water infrastructure plan. The big sticking points that still remain at this hour: raise the age of criminal responsibility, having those 16 and 17-year-olds currently charged as adults, regardless of the crimes committed. The sticking point the governor says there is who would supervise people once they are out of facilities. And in terms of education, that's another big sticking point. Right now, the governor, though, has a message for those school districts that are concerned. He is going to grant them the funding that they would receive under his proposal. That way they can plan for their upcoming budgets. Many concerned we heard all throughout the week as they hope to plan their own budgets in the next few weeks.
If you walk through the Legislative Office building wanting a drink of water, you'll find out the water fountains have been shut off. The governor's budget proposal admits there's still an achievement gap across New York State. He's proposing $5 million in pre-K, expanding that across New York, as well as another $35 million to invest in poorer communities and after-school programs.
Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara did send out this letter, though, to the governor, saying that he wants the governor and lawmakers to stay here and finish a deal before going on their 2-week break.
To see any changes, the bill would have to go through both the Assembly and the Senate. And despite upstate Republicans holding the majority here in the Senate, the Democratic-controlled Assembly, mainly from downstate, doesn't seem open to the idea. They also note keeping the plants open costs you less than $2. And they say if the plants were to close, your rates would go up more than $7 a month. Well, it is March, and this is usually something I'd wear at the golf course. We're out here at the golf course, but today, thanks to Mother Nature delivering all this snow, it looks like ski and snow season is going to continue for a little bit longer. Johnny Perez was in a similar situation like this for 10 months. Now, I'm about 5'9" now, and when I stretch out completely from end to end, I can touch wall to wall.
The Senate has stayed here. They passed the first 4 bills in the final budget, which means they have 5 left to complete this in their House. But in terms of that, there's still those key outstanding issues they have yet to see, which is ride sharing, raise the age of criminal responsibility, the aid to education. So far this evening, they've dealt with direct care workers, wages for them, aid to localities to keep the governments running. Some issues that are important, but not those key ones we've been talking about for weeks.